Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Voltron Legendary Defender, Starverse, The Force of Evil, and RWBY. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing Chapter 10 of Volume 4 of RWBY, Kuroyuri. We discuss RWBY every week that it's new here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. Spoilers for Kuroyuri and all previous episodes of RWBY. Delaney, I know I just kept hearing from people, when is our Ren and Nora flashback episode? Like, when is that gonna happen? So they finally gave us what our constant demanded. No, I'm joking, but, I think this kind of came out of nowhere, but what were your thoughts on this episode?
Okay, so it was one called Oscar Leaving. Oscar is leaving. Oscar left. This episode, God, this season is just whatever, just blah. But
rude.
This episode's probably better than maybe the last two we've had. Maybe it's just it doesn't really stand out other than the flashback, which is interesting. The fact that we had a flashback isn't interesting. The flashback itself was not interesting. I mean, yeah, little Ren and little Nora were cute. But, we saw the Grimm, but it was ooh, scary Grimm, which, that's really probably the only interesting thing really about the flashback were, the Grimm designs. Yeah,
we'll talk about the Grimm a lot, too.
And then, the Ren and Nora present made no sense. Okay, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the context of the season, I think this episode is probably, we'll see what they do with Ren and Nora. I don't know why we're suddenly having this big Ren and Nora focus. Probably we're going to kill them, but...
Yeah, that's what I meant to say that. I was this episode confirms that Ren and Nora are going to die.
Yeah, which seems very pointless to focus on that, anyway. Regardless of that, I actually very much enjoy Kuroyuri. I really like the random stupid flashback. I just thought I think this was for me the most enjoyable episode of the season by far. I just really liked the Ren and Nora cuteness, and I watched it for the second time in the flashbacks. It's just really badly written, but I don't care. It was great. I'm a big fan of this episode, actually. No, I mean, and I'm serious, but I thought that, I don't know why I needed to see young Ren and Nora, but I enjoyed it, basically, is my opinion on this episode.
It's fair. I do think I have more, that maybe I might have come out a little bit more negative than I had. Granted, this whole season is just so boring. This is definitely better than probably the majority of the other episodes this season. So, I did like watching the flashback. It was just why are we doing this? But it's fine. Yeah,
I definitely not sure why we're doing that. Okay, so I think the Oscar part was pretty terrible.
100% awful.
Yeah, but once we got past that, it's fine. Everything they've done with Oscar this season has been horrible. They can't pay this off in a way which is going to be good.
No.
But I think the flashbacks are good. I think the RWBY, we got potentially the best RWBY stuff we've gotten all season, even though it ended up being John talking the entire time.
Sigh.
We actually address a lot of our comments about what was happening with RWBY, and then we get awesome Ren and Nora stuff. So I was happy. Yeah, I think we'll go over it. There's not a ton to discuss in the flashbacks. It's mostly just I don't even know their ship name off the top of my head. It's mostly just them being adorable. But I think it's great. So let's start with these flashbacks. I think that's the highlight of the episode. So we have little Ren and in Kuroyuri, and we see his mom and his dad. Thoughts on the parents? Both interesting designs.
Yeah, they were neat. Again, it's also the way this show does how everything looks, and there's super weird futuristic technology, and then it's also kind of a medieval Japanish sometimes. It's interesting.
Yeah, this was supposed to be medieval Japan, but it was it was interesting. I think Ren's mom seems great. And then Ren's dad
seems nice.
Yeah, she seems nice. And Ren's dad is interesting design. And he's like, and he tells little Ren, sometimes the worst action you can take is taking no action at all. And so I thought that line was terrible.
Of
And,
course.
but it was fine.
It was interesting. They did they didn't go the typical route of, oh, they become friends because Ren like saved Nora from like these bullies. Like, no, he's just kind of a little. He was just, he was just a little kid, like, and then he like went and got her later. Which that scene also makes no sense, but it's fine.
Yeah, I did like that it was Ren's dad that saves little Nora. Yeah, that's good. But we have this like teaching Ren to act, and that's his big lesson in life, which I thought is interesting because Ren is a character I feel like is a character that doesn't really do anything. So,
right?
So I thought that's kind of ironic. Why are we
It's so
teaching?
weird. What the heck?
Why are we teaching him this? But yeah, so I like all of that. We were bullying little Nora, which was unacceptable.
Not okay.
No bullies.
Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Also, where are her parents? What's wrong? I thought this was supposed to be like Utopia.
So I guess that city. I guess she's an orphan from somewhere else, and she came here.
Yeah, because they're talking about like her clothes were weird and stuff.
Yeah. What do you think of random thought? What do you think of Ren and Nora being at least like Nora liking Ren, despite the fact that they're kind of like brother sister growing up like this? I feel like.
Like it makes sense in a way. It's kind of like the Flash and like Iris West and like
I don't
they
understand.
grew up together.
I don't understand the reference.
Flash got adopted.
Okay.
And like he like grows up with Iris, but he's like in love with Iris, and then he keeps messing stuff up because he's an idiot anyway.
Anyway.
So like,
yeah,
I ship them, and so it's a little bit. I don't think it's like awful. Like it's like granted, I really very little care about Nora and Ren. Like I have like the baseline of how much I care is probably like 2 out of like 10, but
there's no context to that scale anyway.
Yeah. I said out of 10. I mean,
what's a 10? Anyway,
like, okay. Kurosami's like a 13.
Okay,
so
okay. Now we have context. Yeah, no, I actually do. I mean, I guess I care about Ren and Nora, and I guess I like this flashback, and it makes sense for their dynamic because Nora crushing on Ren because she's always like looked up to him and like he saves her kind of, even though he didn't.
Right.
And Ren sees her more as like a sister because they grew up together. So I think that
when they sense. Also like they had never had anyone but each other.
Right. Yeah. So that's a more important dynamic than any of their romantic feelings.
Yeah.
Then that's the way I took the handhold and the hugging and stuff. Like I think it's more just their close bonds rather than any ship stuff, right?
Yes. Like it doesn't even matter. Like it's like they're just that close.
Yeah,
like,
they're just really adorable. The handhold at the end, and then the Nora hugging Ren. It was the best. Okay. We've gone 10 minutes, Delaney, or whatever, and we haven't discussed the latest addition to our mythology. The Grim Horseman of the Apocalypse.
What the heck? Like that one, it was scary. Like I was like, oh man, he looks terrifying. I guess this explains the hoof print, except like it doesn't look like that. It's that big. I'm confused. Graham, we only saw it from we saw it up close. It makes no sense.
There was so we saw it. I didn't even catch it. We definitely see like the bottom of the horse at some point, and then we see it like in the distance twice. I didn't even see that the first time. But yeah, it's the guy on top of the horse doesn't seem that menacing. But
no, it's just a dude.
I guess the horse is big, so that would explain the big hoof print. But
then he kind of doesn't look that big though. Like when it's walking by, like when Ren and
it's not. It wasn't as big as I guess we thought it would be. It's not like a treetop moving like in the end.
Well, it doesn't look as big as like the hoof print they saw, so I'm very confused.
So you said this was going to be a giant bear, and it's a giant horse. So
I didn't say bear. I said something with hooves, like a rhino or something.
Oh well, I don't think you said rhino, but I think
I def said rhino.
So are there 4 of these things? You didn't. I don't think you said rhino. What are there 4 of these things? Yes? No?
Mm,
I don't know.
like, who cares? I mean, probably. I don't know. Like, God, the Grim are really cool, but like, I'm getting kind of tired of just seeing randomly cool Grim. Like, explain to me how these form and like, how do you?
Why is it a human Grim on top
Yeah,
of the
I guess
horse
the thing, like,
Grim?
is it
Like,
like a warrior? Like, is it is it Salem or somebody? Like, what?
yeah, is
What?
Salem one of the horsemen, or is Salem in charge of the horsemen? Like, what's going
Like,
on?
how does this work? Like, can you have humanoid Grim? Like, this is really weird.
Yeah, in the context of the overall mythology, this is stupid, but I think it played really. I
Yes.
think it played really well in the flashback. Like, I thought it was really interesting within the episode.
Well, yeah, and it was really scary.
Yeah. Um.
And it's interesting that you never see it really up close and like how it looks from the front or anything. Like they had it very purposeful. They've had it very purposefully like angled when like Ren's dad is like fighting it and
Yeah.
telling him
Yeah.
to run.
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely angled in a way that we don't see it up close. Certainly, we're going to see it up close either at the end of next episode or in the finale. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is the thing we're fighting this season.
Well, I think what's coming in like at least again the last bit of the episode made very little sense to me. Like they're like we're in the cave. I'm like yeah, I understand they were fighting it and trying to kill it, and a lot of people died. And I think Ren picked up his dad's arrow or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
So,
then like
but then what?
I think well, and then this wrestling. I think it's the bird.
Oh, you think it's the bird and not the horseman?
Well, I think it has to be the bird because like it's a cave like up like it seems like
oh,
a
yeah,
nest.
how to get up there? Is that your
Yeah,
question?
I think it's no. I just feel like it's the bird. Like, and also like the horse wouldn't wrestle the like. That's
Yeah,
not really
I don't
that.
understand how it's wrestling the trees. Yeah, there are multiple birds though in the flashback, but yeah, we also saw we also saw like that type of bird in like the forest in season one. There's I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah, I don't understand what's going there. But yeah, at the end in the cave, Ren finds presumably one of his dad's arrows. They find something from the village earlier in the season, so it seems like this is like you'd think it'd be the Horseman's Cave, and it'd just be a legacy of like it killing villages and bringing
right.
stuff back. But I guess that's what they're implying. But yeah, I don't know why the tree is shaking, and it also seems to be moving away from the cave, and then they scream at the end. So I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. Like, I'm very confused.
So I guess we'll see. I assume we won't just see them dead next episode. It'll be part of it's like Ruby and John hear them scream, they go to help, and then that's our big fight that starts
Right?
it off.
Yeah,
I
that
guess.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Though I could also see us just having like a Ren and Nora fight.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
I'll have to see.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's like I like Ren and Nora. They're not important enough to spend this much time on. That being
Right.
said, I don't know. I'd be up for seeing them fight. So, other stuff in the flashbacks, we see big Ren's semblance episode.
What the God, Jesus, this just makes no
Yeah,
sense.
so I definitely had to. I would not have come up with this on my own. I had to look for a discussion on this, but it seems like Ren's semblance is emotion masking. Because he is able to use this on himself, and they use this effect where it decolors like the person, like they become a grayscale.
I thought it was like he was like shrouding them.
Yeah, right. So he's shrouding them from the Grim. So but this isn't like a definitive. This is just the analysis. It would be emotion shrouding because the Grim like see emotions. So it's like
Okay.
looks like little Nora's nervous, so he has to do his semblance on her to make the Grim not find them, basically.
Okay, this makes more sense to me because I was really irritated when he like did it and suddenly he wasn't scared anymore, and I was like, "Well, this makes no sense." What
Right.
the heck?
So I think a good question is like, is he actually altering emotions or is he just masking the emotions? I think
Right.
both are reasonable interpretations of
Well,
that semblance.
and this also makes sense for like Ren's character.
Yeah, because
'Cause,
he's
like-
very like calm inducing kind of
Yeah.
guy.
So I feel like okay, I accept this. This makes sense.
Yeah, I would love for them to be more explicit with these type of things, but I think this is one of the better of their uses of semblances like this, and I think it makes sense with Ren. I think it's interestingly presented in the episode. It had like a visually interesting element. That being said, like most of these don't land for me at all.
Right.
So.
I mean, we don't know anything about semblances, and then they
Yeah.
like do really weird things, like oh, I'm unlucky, like whatever.
Well, okay, we don't need to get into the unlucky one. That was the worst.
This is the absolute
Compared
worst.
to the I'm a bad luck charm. This is, I think, is much better. So,
Okay, well, also we need to talk about the two most important scenes to me in this episode are Ren running around trying to buy his dad a present, and it's hilarious because he's so cute. And he's
Yeah.
like, "How much will this get me?" And he's like trying to buy like alcohol and like
Yeah.
weapons, and they're like, "Nah, kid." And then when he like crawls out and gets the hammer for Nora, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, and then we have Ren's dad gives him something that resembles his current weapon, and then he gives Nora the hammer, which resembles her current weapon. So that's really
Good
cool.
stuff. It
Yeah.
was cute.
Yeah, the scene with Ren and Nora hiding under the building, whatever. I think that was really good. One of the best of the season.
Quality.
Yeah, big fan of all. I think that's it for the flashbacks. But actually, genuinely a big fan of this. I was interested to see where we're going with the Horseman Grimm, but certainly let's stop adding random stuff to our mythology. That's not working.
Please.
It started not working last season, and it continues not to work. The Ren and Nora in the present. I have you here, don't I? Says Nora about Ren. Like, are you okay? That was really, that was great.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, the ultimate Ren Nora episode is great. Let's very briefly discuss the Oscar stuff. So Oscar is going to the city. He feels like it's the right thing to do.
He's angsting the whole way there.
And it was just terrible because we didn't see the previous scene that led up to this. And also, I don't care about Oscar. And I don't understand what's happening.
He's like staring at his backpack, and it's like, I really don't care.
I don't understand. Like, this is the type of thing that's going to play better when you're viewing like the season and the series like as a whole, because you'll see it's like a movie. You'd see these scenes interspersed. Certainly, it's like worse when you're watching it episode to episode. That being said, it's just like this is like the fourth or whatever Oscar scene, and it's just. There's a difference between having like an interesting mystery laid out and like withholding information from the audience than just having scenes that we just don't care about constantly thrown
and
in.
They make no sense.
Like there's nothing for us to go on, and even when it does pay off, it's not going to be like, oh, that, it's just going to be like, okay, like I guess that's how that worked.
Also, the most interesting thing about Oscar is that Ozpin is in his head talking, and it's still, even then, it's really boring.
Yeah, you said Oscar. Ozpin Oscar combination. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oscar.
Oscar. Hashtag. Then he goes to the ATM and he didn't have money.
God.
And then another thing I wouldn't have understood, and if I didn't look in the discussion about this, is that this random guy comes up, and it's a guy, as Ospin says, it's a man from his past. Turns out this is the one of the guys from Salem's Table from episode 1, which I completely forgot about.
No, I did see him. Like, I was like, was that the green dude from Salem's thing?
I had no idea that was it. This is Hayes. Yeah, this is.
And I was like, what?
How did you remember that? Like, come on.
Well, okay, it's in the intro, so like.
Okay, I guess. Oh, he's in the intro. Okay, I've been skipping the intro. I see. Yeah,
so
this is Hazel. Yeah, nothing more to say about that.
Like, what? Also, like, that's not how ATMs work.
You can't just hit it on the top and money comes out?
Like, that's not how it works. Like, if it was a vending machine, I would have understood, but like, this is stupid. And then, like, that also made no sense. Why did Hazel do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I have known nothing about this guy. And
like, looking at Hazel, and based on like who he hangs out with, and having heard him talk, with Salem, I would have expected he was more likely to just go up to Oscar and break his neck for no reason than to give him money. Like, I'm really confused.
Yeah. I mean, the big egregious thing is it's been 9 episodes since we've even thought of this guy.
Who is this?
Bringing him in now is super unsuccessful.
Like,
so,
what?
I mean, I think at the time I was most interested in him out of the group. So like, I'm not opposed to him coming into the story now, but
he seems like the least bad.
Yeah, maybe he's the nicest guy. Like, I think he talked interestingly or something. I don't even remember.
Yeah, he's kind of like soft spoken. I think like he's like really gruff looking, and then he's like very quiet.
So I don't know. We'll see what we do with Hazel, but yeah, that was just that was just like, pretty bad.
Okay, and then I do say I will say the best part of this scene is the train transition.
Elaborate.
Like when they're switching back to, I think they're switching back to like the flashback, or maybe they're switching to Ruby and Jean. Like they do like the train. They're switching back to Ruby and Jean. They do the trains. Like the train goes by and it's like really loud and sounds cool, and then they switch to like that was a really good like transition.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I do think this season has been stuff like that been technically very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between this and the other show we're covering at the moment, Voltron, with like great technical execution and not as great narrative. Although the the difference between Voltron's narrative and the show's narrative is very significant. So
Yes.
yeah, not a fair
Voltron's
comparison.
mythology makes a little bit more sense, even though it has magical lions that become a giant robot.
Yeah, I actually think the mythology is kind of similar in that there's just a lot of
Like,
stuff we just don't
it's
understand, and they
like,
kind of throw stuff
okay.
at you. But yeah, that'll be our comparison podcast coming up now, JK. But okay, so we've saved the best for last, Delaney. The Lancaster scenes from this episode. That being said, we get Ruby's best. I think we get Ruby's best 20 seconds of the season, and but that's all
Yes.
it was. But she says, I'm sorry for dragging you guys along, and it's she's. But then we get John's best 20 seconds of the season before he keeps going on and on. He's like,
Perhaps the series.
this is one of it. Yeah, I think we forget that there's some pretty good John stuff in like season 2 and season 1.
Yeah,
But
this is true.
I really love the scene of John and this is random, but John and Ruby like sitting down and talking in the hallway when this is actually a show that took place in a school, and
Yes.
them talking about being leaders and Ruby encouraging John. I thought that scene is
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah. But here we have John says, you lost Pyrrha too, and Penny and your whole team. Yay, John acknowledging that people other than him are sad right now.
Thank you.
This is something a lot of people are getting on John, including us last week for being annoying. And
He's
yeah.
always annoying, but he was like slightly less annoying for like 20 seconds.
Yeah, he kept going after this, and I stopped caring what he was saying. But
Well, and then like I was getting really upset. Like they were staring at each other's eyes. I was like, please stop. Like,
yeah, what do you think?
please no.
Where's our drop for Lancaster Watch 2017?
God.
What's your thoughts? Is it happening?
Well, I'm afraid it is. Like,
So the same place we were in the beginning of the season. We're just
well,
afraid.
this scene makes me slightly more afraid. Like I went up a little bit. Like I went like a tick more afraid, but we'll see.
I thought in the beginning of the season we were going to do it soon. So now that we haven't, I think
Right.
we're safe for a while. Like it's possible
Please
that
no.
this is a season 7 in their 13 season plan plot arc. Like, but it's not going to happen right now. So,
So right now we're okay.
right now we're safe. But yeah,
God.
I'm not convinced that they're never going to do this. But
Well, my
yeah.
thing is, I mean, Jean's the literal self-insert character. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
literally
that's
is, yeah.
yeah. So
So,
sigh.
you'd think the self-insert character wouldn't date Ruby, but who knows? Like, it made more sense when he was like crushing on Weiss, the hot girl. But
Right.
yeah, who knows what they're doing? Okay, yeah, but yeah. So John stuff's good. I think Ruby's stuff is good. Ruby's like talking more is good.
Thank
But
God. Also, we acknowledge the loss of Team Ruby.
yes, and Penny. First time we've mentioned Penny this season.
Yes, thank you.
As Penny's number 35
Really?
fan in the world. That's high. I would say that means I like Penny.
Penny's
Yeah.
the best.
So when my biggest disappointment in Volume 4 is that we have not brought Penny back to life yet, because it's
Yes.
seemingly so easy to do that.
Right, like you just upload her. Like,
Just upload into a new Penny. Yeah.
like she's in the clouds somewhere.
We've
We just have to
seen
download her.
seen Ironwood multiple times, and every time Ironwood spends brooding around Weiss's mansion is in his time not spent bringing Penny back to life. Ironwood, get on your crap. Like,
It's so irritating. Like,
why?
just bring Penny back. We need her.
I guess like Ironwood might join our group with Weiss. Like if that happens, then maybe he'll bring Penny along. I don't think that'll happen
Please.
though.
No,
But-
probably not.
Probably not. But yeah, and the rest of Team Ruby seems like Ruby actually. It didn't come from Ruby though. No mention of Ruby about the rest of Team Ruby, but
Right.
from John
What?
about the rest of Team Ruby. So yeah, I don't know.
Sigh.
Sigh. Okay, predictions. What's the scream at the end? So do you think? So they're not. My initial thought was like, did they just die? No.
Right.
Probably not.
I mean, hopefully not. I definitely think it's like the bird came out and like was like, "Arr!" Like I feel like part of the noise is the bird, and then it's them screaming.
I think this has to be the horseman, not the bird. But I mean, there's not like one bird. But it would make physically more. I understand where you're coming from. Like it would make physically more sense.
Like if it's the horse and it just comes floating up, we really can
maybe it can fly. Who knows?
Like we don't know.
What's special about these horsemen? Like they have to do something interesting.
Well, it's just yeah, and I mean, it makes more sense thematically to have a horseman and like having going through these villages like a horseman as a raider, and like that makes more sense. But it's also like what?
Yeah, I don't know. And we're bringing like a Bible or whatever imagery into, there's a lot happening here.
There's a lot going on, and very little of it makes sense.
So we'll see what the Horseman goes. Okay, Death Watch 2017. So let's rank our 4 death candidates again after this episode. So we got Ren, Nora, and then you got Crow, who is still dying in this episode. They don't get closer to saving Crow, and we forgot about Sun, but he's also hurt.
He's somewhere.
Yeah. So what would be your rankings right now?
Okay, number 1, Ren. Ren's died. Like, he's just guaranteed he's gonna die. Nor I would put Ren and Nora together, but like considering how much we focused on Ren, right? Like Ren's dead. Like he's just gonna die. Number 2, like probably Nora. Like she's probably gonna die with Ren, but like it's just not as 100% confirmed as Ren's gonna die. I don't really think Crow's gonna die, but like he'd be at number 3 because like he's not looking too hot and like he's sick. And then number 4 is Sun because he's like injured.
Yeah, because we don't really know the extent yet of his. Yeah, I agree exactly with those rankings. Ren, Nora, Crow, and Sun. I actually think all of Ren, Nora, and Crow will die. That would be
that's fair.
I'd say Sun probably won't die, and then those 3 will in these next 2 episodes. I will say killing Ren and Nora serves no purpose right now.
No.
It gives me nothing. Like they're not a major part of the plot. Like killing Pyrrha last season was one of the better. Like it was bad that we killed Pyrrha, but in terms of like narrative elements, that was like an effective narrative element. Like
it made sense.
Pyrrha was a major part. Pyrrha was a major part of the narrative, a major like character in the show. They led up to it well. Like it was emotionally effective. Ren and Nora, except for this episode, there's been no build up. They're not major parts of the show. Like it doesn't make any sense to just randomly bring in a flashback and then kill them for me. So, that being said, if they don't, kill them, then what's the point of this flashback episode?
So confused.
So neither is a good option at this point.
Also, like, there isn't any purpose in killing Crow.
Yeah, I don't really know. I guess killing Crow leaves so the only thing is that, Crow this season, like, okay, so Ozpin has been fighting this war against Salem, and then Ozpin dies, so now Crow has been fighting the war against Salem. So, but if Crow dies, then it's actually on Team RWBY.
Right.
Like, that would be good.
But, I mean, that makes sense, but it's also, like, they still don't know everything, so it's...
Yeah, so I guess one of our scenes in these last episodes could be Crow expositioning again at them.
Yes,
like, we kind of already... and then he dies, and we kind of already had that once, but we could do it again. But he's not going to tell them, like, anything,
right.
So... I don't know. Yeah, I think Crow's probably been the most successful secondary character for the past 2 seasons. So killing him would be bad. But that being said, it might put the focus back on the characters we care about. So,
well, it's a little confusing because Crow's derailed. I mean, he's derailed them because he's been sick and like he's hurt, and so like they aren't going straight to Mistral. They have to try and get him help.
Yeah, not even. We were like for sure they'll be in Mistral by the end of the season, right? Maybe not.
Perhaps not.
2 episodes left. We're not there yet. We're kind of at like the border, I guess, at the moment. But yeah, we're
closer than we were like at the beginning.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this in our finale and season long to combined podcast. But clearly the season's moved incredibly slowly, and it's been very frustrating.
Snore.
Yeah. Snore. Yep. There you go. That was Delaney's snore onomatopoeia is just saying snore. Yeah.
Snore.
What else from any other random predictions before? Because last season the finale was kind of like 2 parts, so stuff might actually happen next episode. Random stuff off the top of your head.
Confrontation between Blake and the White Fang.
Yeah, that seems like that will happen, right?
Right. Yeah.
Blake Ilya predictions.
Like an argument, probably.
We'll even see her again. Like,
I don't know if
we'll
see Ilya. Like, yeah, we might. We might not see Blake and Sun and them again. And I don't know if we'll see Yang again. It'd be nice to maybe see Yang like go off on a journey. Like maybe she's like, it's time for me to go.
We've got to be close to 100% to see them at some point in the next.
Right.
Episodes.
Also, what like Weiss is Weiss gonna appear at any point? Like, she gonna drop out of the sky? Right.
So are they going to be physically back together by the end of the season? Probably not. Like, how does that happen?
No.
Like we'll see them all coming together, and then probably at our first scene next season is seeing them together or something. But yeah, so like the problem is, how do you have this like giant action climax if you have so many distinct locations and plots?
And then like nothing's really going on.
Right, and there's nothing happening in them. So is it just the Team Ranger side is the action, and then we just have these supporting things that we briefly see or we see at the end, or is it like last season when the last episode was like 10 minutes of the climax and then 10 minutes of like the epilogue, so then we could see stuff we're all Team Ranger, and then the last 10 minutes we see what's happening with the rest of Team RWBY or something.
I mean, I almost feel like, I don't know if it's really gonna feel like a finale. Like, we might just be going around, like, seeing what everyone's doing. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to imagine how it's gonna play out.
Compared to last season, which was like building up and this giant like epic.
And me and Dylan were like, everyone's gonna die.
Everyone's gonna die, and like everything's happening. This season has just been the exact opposite. Nothing is happening this season.
It was like they took like the Vital Festival and just made it the whole season.
Yeah, but like even the Vital Festival had more happening.
At least they had cool fights.
Yeah, there's just nothing now. Yeah, that being said, Kuroyuri is actually an episode like I might just like actually watch again. Like there's very few, like there's probably zero other from the season that I'd actively.
Honestly, same.
But
yeah.
I enjoyed the flashbacks enough that I don't know if I don't know if this is better than the one we had as the best before this, but I don't know. There's been none that have been super.
Yeah, it's just like everything's boring.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Clear, like at the very least, we'll have something happening in the last two episodes because they're clearly gonna do something in the finale.
I mean, we had a scream. Something has to be like dramatic. Has to be happening.
You'd think, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. Let us know comments on any of this. Who's gonna die? What are your finale predictions? What's your Ren or shipping comments, I guess. I don't know. And eulogize them in advance. Yeah,
yes.
Do that in the YouTube comments, comments on the website. And we'll be back next week to discuss the last episodes. Keep up with we're currently in the process of covering Voltron Legendary Defender Season 2. Check out overlyanimated.com for all the podcasts about that. That dropped on Netflix. That's a whole season thing. We're doing 2 episodes at a time. Overlyanimated.com. Consider supporting us on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Catherine, aka Cookie Cat. Thank you very much, Catherine, for your support. And yeah, I think that's good. Last comments, Delaney.
Rip, Ren and Nora. Rip.
Yeah. Rip. I really hope. Ren. I don't want Nora to die. I think that's the conclusion I've came to. Ren
that's
better
fair.
than but yeah. Anyway, so we will see what happens next time. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.